Welcome, everybody. You are looking live at Riverfront Stadium. The Cincinnati Bengals are taking on the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm sure it's not Riverfront Stadium anymore. Um, I don't know what the stadium's called, but we're tuning in here to a end of the regular season game between the Chiefs and the Bengals. Bengals are leading 13-10, but the Chiefs are driving with just a few seconds left in the half. It'll be 45 seconds after that play got out of bounds. Let's take a look at the standings here. And I don't pay attention too much to the AFC until we get to the playoffs. Here we are, real quick, right here. We got the Bengals at 6-9, surprisingly, with that Joe Burrow card. The Chiefs are fighting for their playoff lives. They are also at 6-9. So one of these teams is going to be looking a lot better after tonight, and the other one in big trouble. So after that 15-yard run, it's 1st and 10 at the 26. Now, there is a thread here on the Slack channel. Let's see. Where is it at? Week 14 playoff overview? Is that what we're looking at? It's not week 14 anymore. Pitch out right to Clyde Edwards-Helaire. There's a man in the zone. It's going to lose 3 yards due to the plug. Let's see. Is there something else here? Did they just leave it named that? Okay, here we go. Yeah, that's old because it says the Chiefs at 5-8. So we haven't had an update, I don't think. Well, we can figure it out ourselves real quick. Let's see. Number 1 seed in the AFC is going to be either the Patriots at 11-4 or the Chargers at 11-4. That's entering the week. Let's see, do we have any games played so far? Okay, recaps. Okay. 3-2-6 defense on the 2nd and 13. He had to use his last time out there. Tim did. The Chiefs are coached by Tim Urban, and the Bengals are coached by, who is it again? Let me think. Cincinnati is coached by Jeff. Oh, this is Jeff Woodland. So, all right. Pitch out left to Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Nobody's there. Guessed wrong. Gets 13 on his card, and that is going to be a first down. Let's see if he gets out of bounds. He will. The white die is a 2, so 2-4-6 gets out of bounds. And it'll be 1st and 10 at the 16. So in the AFC, these guys are the division leaders. Indy, Baltimore, New England, and the Chargers. So that leaves spots for 3 wild cards. And we got Cleveland in prime position to get one. Denver, Las Vegas, Jacksonville all at 7 and 8. And then behind them are the 6 and 9 teams, which include Cincy, Pittsburgh. Oh, Miami's 6-8 and 1, so they got a little bit of an edge. So both these teams are still alive for the playoffs. That's the bottom line. 30 seconds left, getting out of bounds. 1st and 10 at the 16. 2 tights, 2 wides against a 3-3-5. Let me share this out in case anybody wants to join this. But I think there's another game going on. Hold on, let me put this out here. Week 16, Baltimore at Cincinnati. Wait a minute. What am I looking at here? Kansas City, Cincinnati. So this is week 17. On tackle draw left to Darrell Williams. He's got the short gain on 6 and 8. Trying to hit one of those. And he gets one, 11 yards, down to the 5. They'll have to spike it. So it should get him down to 15 seconds. But it'll be second and goal after the spike. With 15 seconds left. Let's see. There's the game number here. Yeah, we got the Ravens and Rams going on. Checking on that too. So second and goal at the 5. 3 wide. Figure you can take a couple shots. As long as he doesn't get sacked or throw a pick, he's in line to at least tie it. Coaches are being delivered. Inside run to Edwards-Helaire. Guessed wrong, nobody there, but there's 3 wide. Defensive tackle +1 or +6 only gets 1. That is DJ Reader, who's a 6 against the white guy at 5. So we'll have to spike it again and take the field goal. If he doesn't spike it, the clock will run out. Can't go hurry up. So we'll trot out the effective kicker, Harrison Butker. And that kick is up and good. So we have to keep an eye and see if anybody joins us here. Clear so far. So we're at halftime. Teams are tied up at 13-13. So let's go take a look at the other game. We got Baltimore in this one, 29-0 over the Rams. So Baltimore is going to win that game. Let's take a look at this one. So that's going to tighten their grip on the AFC North as they go to 9-7 in this penultimate week of the 2021 regular season. We're going to move that over. Probably get out of this game now since it's so one-sided. 36 now to 0. The Rams are getting pummeled. And that's a good Rams team, so that's kind of scary. The Rams team's 10-5 right now. We looked at the AFC. NFC is a little more clear-cut. Packers and Seahawks sit atop the division or the conference with the number 1 and number 2 seed. Then we got the number 3 seed. Is it going to be Tampa Bay, Dallas, Philly, maybe Atlanta? And then we got the wild cards where all those the 9-6, 8-7 teams are going to be the second and third wild card. The first wild card will be the Rams. Double-digit wins already. Whether Philadelphia can join them, Dallas can join them. So we'll see. All right, so let me get out of this. And then we'll get this back over here. I think we're ready to resume. Chiefs come out in a 4-2-5 against the blocking back halfbacks head. with backup offensive lineman Jackson Carmen in there as the blocking back. That is a 5-yard pickup. Oh, we got Anthony joining us. This will be good.
Hey, Dennis.
Evening.
How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well.
We got a 13-13 game. I did take a quick peek at the Rams and Ravens game, but it was all Ravens. It was like 36-0.
Oh, really? Okay.
So that seems like one we can skip, keeping too close of an eye on.
And that's the only other one going on?
I think. An earlier one with a couple of non-playoff teams. Let's see.
Might have Tampa and the Jets going.
Jets and Tampa.
Yeah, I can check that out.
Oh, I guess, yeah, Tampa's in the mix of the NFC South crowd, so that's not a non-playoff team.
Yep.
The Jets, of course, are struggling and will continue to struggle until they figure out their quarterback situation.
Should be an interesting offense next year.
Yeah, especially if I hear rumors of Derek Carr maybe going there.
Mm-hmm.
Jimmy
Garoppolo. I mean how Strat cards that offense next year. Although, they got some yards. They got enough yards. They'll be decent.
Yeah,
not decent, but they won't be historically bad. Put it that way.
No, the defense is really good, and their rookie running back, was really good until he got hurt. And Elijah Moore came to life once Zach Wilson stopped throwing him the ball. So it should be interesting. I mean, Mike White will have a decent card, probably with a lot of turnovers, though.
Yeah, and Flacco had a bunch of yards. I mean, he had that comeback versus Cleveland. I mean, it's not going to be a good card, but I mean, it's not going to be awful. His card,
right? It'll have its bright spots.
Yeah, for a minute there, it looked like the Jets were going to have the best defense in a long time. Not necessarily because they were the best defense, but because there was no way they could be on the field that much and give a realistic Strat result without being supreme for a minute.
Right.
But the Jets kind of righted it, which is going to bring the defense, I think, back down to earth. But they're still going to be very good. Yeah. For a second there, I thought they were going to be supreme just because there was no other way to card the team.
Right. Speaking of good quarterback cards, Joe Burrow in this one, and Patrick Mahomes, two of the best in the AFC, doing their thing.
Yeah, two teams that are on the edge of the playoffs. It's I don't know if you watched the playoff preview, Dennis, or not, but
I looked for like an updated playoff picture, a graphic that you guys had for Week 14. That was pretty cool, but I didn't watch the broadcast. I forgot about that.
Yeah, it's about 3 weeks ago, that one. But we just talked about how these pass first teams struggle.
Yeah.
And in stock leagues, it's very noticeable. Cincinnati, Tampa, Kansas City at the top of the list.
But if you think about the history of Stratomatic, when it was created, it was pro set, fullback, halfback type offense, and they built the game to do that very well.
Yep.
If Stratomatic would have been invented, 2 years ago, it would be an entirely different game, and it would handle these pass first offenses, I think, a little bit better.
Yep.
I find that when you have a good quarterback, it still works better if you set up the pass with the run.
You have to force the issue.
Yeah, you need to figure out a way to get your opponent to call run and to be throwing against those run calls. That's when Stratomatic's offenses really work well.
Yeah. For a minute, both Tampa and Kansas City were up about 95% guessed right passing. It's just you're gonna throw picks that way. You're gonna struggle if you're 95% of the time guessed right passing. And oh, by the way, you're not running very much anyway.
Right, and the reason for that, on top of the higher pick chances, is the overpower overpowered effectiveness of a double team in Stratomatic.
Yep.
So that you can shed that on. You go 3-3-5 and you double team, 40% of the targets, 2 of the 5 guys. That's pretty effective offense, even with the dump off. Or
Right.
pretty effective defense.
Yes. Yep. Yeah, Tampa's been living on the dump off this year. That's how they're going to get into the playoffs. Best numbers in the league. As we see Cincinnati here, it's going to be 4th though. So 4th.
Well, it's an interesting way to run the offense. Like just keep throwing short and long and hope you get those dump offs.
Yeah, if you have the offensive line to do it. Yep.
Yeah, you got to have those 7s.
Yep.
To do it comfortably.
Neither of us like flat passes as runs. I know that. So, and I said this in the broadcast too. I don't like it, but that's how these teams. I mean, these teams would be 13 wins right now if flat passes were as runs. And oh, by the way, they statistically would probably come out a bit more realistic, but it just sways so many other things in such a massive way that it's not a all in all good solution.
Yeah. Or maybe I think it's a good solution if you're trying to get the statistics right and you're playing a solo league where you can stop it from being abused. Like you can stop it from being 90% flat passes,
yes.
In the game. So the rule is good. The rule is good if it isn't abused, but online play, people are trying to win and they're going to do everything that makes sense for them to get an advantage.
I put that question to Ed just over email. I said, definitively tell me, Ed, do you know, is the game being formulated with that rule on or off? Because when you look at Kansas City and the limited carries, right, especially when you have low usage turned on, it feels like it is. It feels like it is for a KC. If you're in KC shoes. Now, if you're in other team shoes, it may not feel that way. But from the KC perspective, it feels like that's how they develop the cards.
Yeah. They never gave us a clear answer on that when I interviewed Glenn Guzzo. They don't have a preferred set of rules to play under. They give you the sandbox to make your own decisions. But you're right. It does seem like it sure is built that way. Or maybe it's just built that way for this era, for the, use those, you use a different set of rules from the 60s and a different set of rules in the 70s, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah. There's this helplessness on defense that you get when you're playing, because we played it in this league for one season, right? And I don't know if you played it. I haven't played it in any other leagues but this one, that 1 year. I don't know if you were the same.
I have played it in KSFDL before I quit that league because I just hated it. Mm-hmm. And we did a test league called FPR, whatever, flat passes as runs experimental league. Mm-hmm. So I played like a short season with that. It just feels so weird, and it puts so much emphasis on those areas.
The rule explains why teams go down the field with under 2 minutes without any issue, because under 2 minutes, the defense is going to get past, and you're going to have those flat passes all day. And that's how the NFL teams do it. You could feel it while you're watching the games. So it brings realism to the 2 minute drill, but everywhere else, it just feels like the defenses are too helpless too often.
Yeah. We got a really good punt here that pinned Kansas City deep, and they're facing 3rd and 5 at their own 6. Bomb to Tyreek Hill, and they hit 30 yards on the D card, even with a double-teamed linebacker there. We got a flag, though. Let's see if this comes back. I got my animation way too slow. Kansas City, the play's gonna stand. Offsides on the Bengals, and they will decline it. I should reboot my computer, then it would the animation would start working better. But I'm not sure how to do that. It's not too late. I guess you could share your screen, and I could give you the broadcast for a moment and come back and do it. Are you watching too, or are you just watching on my screen?
I'm watching. Yeah.
So go ahead. I'm going to stop sharing, and I'll let you present. Let's see. Add that
See
to
it?
the stream. Yep. Okay, so I'm going to reboot real quick and see if that helps. And you can take over the play-by-play in the meantime, if you don't mind.
Will do. So we've got 2nd and 10 after a double team. And here's an interesting spot for KC. Mahomes back in the game. I don't know when you joined, when this broadcast started, but Mahomes was knocked out for the last minute of the first half. And Chad Henne led them to a field goal.
I didn't even notice that. I was calling the plays. I didn't even notice who the quarterback was. I just assumed it was Mr. Mahomes.
One short pass gets right in the sequence, which is an interception on 9 automatic. And KC hit the 8 for a must run. So was able to get the 3 points.
Pretty interesting because that happened in the playoff game too. Almost in the same time frame.
Right. So. 2nd and 15, and wipes out a completion. Important game for both teams. We'll look at the playoffs when you come back, Dennis. I'll dive into it a bit off screen.
Yeah, I showed the standings in the league manager and pointed out they're both 6 and 9 and like a game off the last wild card.
Yes, with some games already played this week too, and
yeah, there's so many teams in that mix. So it's not like, oh, I can say I just got to make up one game on one team. Yeah, you got to make up one game on a couple teams, I think.
Yes. Edwards-Helaire is going to get stopped again by a flag. So 5-yard gain wiped out after an 11-yard gain's wiped out. Makes it 2nd and 20 at the 26. It's a must-win, I think, either way for both these teams. Kind of an elimination game. Neither of them are going to make COI, of course. So this is for any postseason hope, and they're going to need help as well. Off tackle draw to Williams here. Up against the 0 nose. Lots of opportunity. And Williams finds a short gain. He's going to get 17 of it back. No flag this time. 3rd and short. Second carries for Williams. He has 8 left. For all the talk of KC's passing game, those backs are pretty decent. Williams is a good wrong runner. Edwards-Helaire, very good right runner, especially around the end, which is helpful at the goal line when you're looking for empty linebacker zones. 3rd and 3. Four 3 for Cincinnati. Not blitzing. Short pass. Guessed wrong. Opportunity, and Mahomes catches in if the penalty is waived, and it is waved off. 1st down, 12-yard gain. KC climbs out of their 2nd and 20 and is now in Cincinnati territory at the 45. KC has a good offensive line. We saw Hendrickson and Hubbard last week on the broadcast have very high percentages versus Baltimore. And you see they're tempered down here versus this KC line. Take a look at injuries. Doesn't look like there's anything along the KC front. We've got Mathau's an important one, and Eli Apple for the Bengals on a no gain, as Joe Tooney can't make the block. There's a 6. Tooney is rated a 5 at 5'7" here at guard. He can also go out to tackle and be a 0-7 which gives Casey even more injury insurance to protect the passer. Now, Edwards-Helaire in this too tight set on 2nd and 10, he has 7 carries left, facing a nickel. Casey does not take the bait, passes anyway, gets 5 yards, possible penalty. And we've got it. We've got another KC offside, 2nd and 15. That's one way to rack up the yards, is to make the field longer.
All right, I am back.
You're back? All right, I'll stop sharing here.
I don't have the game up yet.
Oh, sorry. Well, we'll give you the radio broadcast. Too tight against a 4-2-5. We've seen a little bit of that today from both sides. Against the 3 wide, I would not advise the 4-2-5 too often, but against the 2 tight, it can work depending on your personnel.
All right.
Long pass, Tyreek. He's doubled up by Marcus Bailey, who's a linebacker. 2 men back there, though, with the free safety there. I believe. It's going to get the dump off, possible penalty. So hold on. After this long gain of 44, which we don't know who it's to yet, so we don't know if it holds up, and the penalty. So 2 things to figure out here. Yes, 44 yards. Darrell Williams can do it, and the penalty's waved off. It's a good play down to the 6-yard line.
Look at that. It's not often you have a back that can go that far. But Darrell Williams, I think he's got a dot or something because that was a nice – he got every one of those 44 yards.
Darrell Williams' long must be 38 with a dot.
Yep. So explain how you knew that was going to be a penalty. So just so we have a
so the D-die there was an X on the roll. So we knew the possibility it's going to look to the offensive or defensive penalty card. And if it's a blank roll, and complete there on 1st and goal. If it's a blank roll on the penalty card, no penalty. If it hits a penalty on those penalty cards, whichever one it goes to, then you'd have a penalty.
Right.
So you got to wait to see if it hit a penalty or not on the card.
So here's the penalty card that Anthony's speaking of. And under your team notebook under special, it tells you on that roll whether there'll be a penalty or not. If it's a blank, no penalty. If it's number 9 on the Bengals card, opponent offsides, it'll be offsides on the Chiefs. That type of thing.
And incidentally, since he's among the league leaders in lowest penalties for, most penalties by the opposition, great penalty card. If you had the Cincy card up, I wasn't looking while you had it up there, but that Cincy card is a beautiful thing.
So they're on their heels here. They've been able to hold them out of the end zone. It's 3rd and goal from the 6. Darrell Williams, of course, has those 2 short gains on 6 and 8 that we saw earlier off tackle that help set up. I think that was that set up the game-tying field goal. The short gain got him from like the 16 down to the 5, but he couldn't cash it in and didn't have enough time. So let's see what he does here. He brings in Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Mm-hmm. No blocking back there, but no blitz coming. He does have an asterisk, though, on the line. Not much of a line.
He's got that plus 16 in the middle and some other rules where he'll get 6 yards. Even 5 would be good. Set you up with the 4th and goal at the 1. If he decides to run it. Like you said, he might just be looking to pass it. A very deliberate pace, as both coaches know the importance of this game. Curl to Pringle, 12 yards and a touchdown. Flag on the play. There's the X. Offsides against Cincinnati, it'll be declined. So couple of penalties on this drive on Cincinnati that were declined because they resulted in good gains for the Chiefs, and they take a 20-13 lead after the extra point is good. Touchback on the kickoff. So Burrow's card, I think, is one of the better ones in the set. A short pass wrong is like dynamite. Maxed out flat, it looks like. And good on the bombs guessed wrong. Just a little high with the picks. That'll bite you.
I think he's been the victim of fumbles too. So I'm not sure. We'll check a snap fumble here in a second, but they've been just crushed, I believe. Let me check here. Fumbles. They're 31st in turnover margin in the league.
Oof.
And 31st in interceptions, to your point.
So he spread them out, tried to run it. Didn't get a good roll, so now he's back in the blocking back halfback set. He must have some injuries. Let's take a look at that. We were missing Eli Apple, Donta Smith, Tyrann Mathieu, and Mike Hughes. I guess not that bad.
Two important defensive ones there. Nothing on the offense that matters.
Right. But I was looking at his blocking back is Jackson Carman, the backup offensive lineman. I would think that they had somebody there that would be a better option at blocking back.
Yeah, he caught me off guard last week in the Ravens game, seeing him back there. I didn't have a card for him, and I think he made a catch and things. He might be an uncarded guy. Got a few of those out there. Vita Vea being one. It's a number of them. Number of guys who can line up as blocking back.
Yeah, and some of them can even block, like Eric Fisher on the Chiefs. Gives you a 5.5 as a blocking back.
And Vea's 5 run is helpful.
Yep. Down and out to Evans, incomplete. And that's going to bring up 4th and 8. So Chiefs getting help on their defensive card and also getting help from the rolls of the Bengals.
Both these returners can hit a 20-something. Missed it.
Oh, yeah. They got the long gain on the D card, too, around for the opponent's return card. So important drive here. If Casey can go down and open up a 2-score lead, that can take some of the pressure off.
Gore's a low usage guy, but I think he averages a good amount.
Ooh. Yeah, you always see those as a defensive coach. That's a missed opportunity. You know, if you would have just been doubling the right guy, could change the game. So did you finally get that last post file for your SFAL league?
Apparently, it's sitting there. I have not. I've not grabbed it yet because I had a Frozen Thunder game right before this one.
Oh yeah, how'd it go against Duke? Did you come on top?
I was playing Pittsburgh, so John.
Oh, yeah. Pittsburgh. I thought it was Philly.
So now I think you're doing really well there, right? 7-1, right? I don't know if you played since.
I have not. I got to get some games scheduled.
7-3 now.
Nice.
Putting it together. You crushed me in Frozen Tundra.
Yeah, one of those games.
Won a couple tough ones. Tough schedule for some reason. I don't get any of the 0 and 12 teams this year.
It is a top-heavy league. You know, a lot of bad teams on the bottom, a lot of top good teams on the top. Like, it's a barbell league if there ever was one. Button hook to Williams. He's being single covered. It looks like he's being double covered.
No, he's doubled.
What is that guy doing? Bailey's doubling Hill and Wilson's. Oh, because there's 2 other doubles. Dump off long gain, 32 yards. This is going to either Robinson or Kelsey because the other targets are doubled. Oh no, it goes to Williams.
It was off
Excuse
his
me.
yak. It was off his yak. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. It wasn't a dump off. It was a yak. It was a yak off. Don't be letting anybody catch you getting those long gains on your yak. So
See if KC comes out and runs here now with a lead. 25th in the league running 1st and 10.
that was a third and long pickup too.
Yep.
So Darrell Williams has caught 5 passes tonight for 118 yards. He's
Mm-hmm.
a weapon in the passing game.
It is an interesting AFC setup, and I'll take a closer look in a minute. But just, the big picture is that Buffalo, KC, and Cincinnati are unlikely to make the playoffs.
All of them?
Yes. Buffalo's out already. Yeah.
Well, KC's still got a chance. They win tonight and win tonight next week.
Yeah. They all two of them have a chance. Yeah. Whoever wins this week will have a chance. Calls run out of a nickel. Other possible injury here. It's Williams. So you got to feel good if you're KC. You did not get stuck with a really bad 1-1-1. He's only out for the half. It could be worse, Tim.
So there's another tip-off for people who don't understand why injuries happen. When there's 3 dice that are all the same number, or is it only ones? It's only ones, right?
1, 2s, 3s, 4, 5, 6.
So if they get 3 of any number, that's when the injuries happen.
And the ones are the worst you want to see because that's going to get your quarterback and your halfback or receivers. It's going to hit your skill positions hard.
Based on the injury chart.
Yep. That's what you really don't want to see is 3 ones pop up. So all in all, if you're KC,
not too bad.
you kind of
not too bad. And you got a lot of good use out of Williams before he went out too.
Mm-hmm.
Not like when your feature back goes out on the first drive of the game and you get nothing.
Right.
Fly to McCole Hardman. He's single covered by a 5. Nobody's in the zone. Dump off. 7 yards, and that'll be exactly what you need for a first down. So 1st and 10 KC at the Bengals 45.
KC, for all their troubles, they get dump offs. 6 in the league in dump off attempts. 23% of their dropbacks, short and long.
So there's another one of those injury chances. We have 3-3-3.
Mm-hmm.
And you go down here, you'll see possible injury to the flanker. Now, because the flanker has got so many receptions, the number of die came up as 5, so it says no injury. So you can look this stuff up in the rules on the charts. But it's kind of like, you know what to look for, and then there are certain guys that won't get injured as much as others. Seven-yard flat pass to Byron Pringle, 2nd and 3 at the 38, and we're getting closer to really good field goal range by Butker. He needs to get a little closer to the 32 and he's much better.
He's automatic from here against me, so I consider the 2 through 12 range for Butker.
2 through 7 out to the 39. 2 through 7 and 12 out to the 39. So even that's not that bad. Pretty good. Edwards-Hilaire checks in. The other thing an injury does too is it can really limit your options carries wise if you're not careful. Off tackle left to Clyde Edwards-Hilaire. There's a man in the zone who's going to pick up 2, set him at 3rd and 1.
And since his last game versus Baltimore, Baltimore lost Devontae Freeman. And in the first quarter.
That's a big game. Right.
And had to really, he did a great job of balancing his carries.
Yeah, and if you go into a game, say a guy sitting out because of overusage, and then you get hit by an injury early, suddenly you've got, a 50 carry back and a 38 carry back, and that's it. So you really have to manage your carries. Full house formation. Edwards-Hilaire and Gore are lined up next to Michael Burton. who can't run the ball, but can certainly catch a pass. Oh, he can run the ball, just not very well. All negatives. Screen right to average Hilaire, and that's going to be a pickup of 7. Now, what's interesting is if Jeff would have just left his guys alone, that would have been a pick because the free safety goes into the zone on to the look it in the flat pass zone to make it 2-minute zone. But because he moved his guys down, he was subject to there was nobody in the zone. The free safety was doubling somewhere else. So you need to, if you see somebody in the full house and you want to just call run, you can.
If you're in a 3-4, bring one linebacker up, because you're going to get 2.
Or just go short yardage. Go short yardage because if it's a flat pass, there's going to be 2 guys in the zone anyway. Of course, you're leaving yourself open to the short pass and long pass then, but that could have been really good for Jeff if he just would have not been so aggressive. I love being aggressive. I'm one of the most aggressive coaches out there, but there's times where I am kicking myself. Spots like that where you just would have left it alone, stayed vanilla. It could have worked out for you.
Mm-hmm.
So we're getting close to the end of the third quarter. Kansas City on the edge of making it a 2-score game. Jeff goes to a 3-3-5, trying to make something happen. Gore's in the game on 2nd and 7.
Yeah, he averages 5. So if he gets hit with low usage, you're still going to get 5 out of it.
And this time he's going to get 14 as he hits the bracket on the D card. But there's a holding call against Kansas City, and that's going to back it up. So 24-yard swing there as it went from a 14-yard gain to a 10-yard loss. And we'll try it again on 2nd down. So who do you have this week, Anthony?
Denver. So with the Patriots loss, Denver's a pretty evenly matched card set with the Chargers. So it's kind of a coin flip. And next week is the Raiders, also kind of a evenly matched game. But if I can win these last 2, then I'll get the number 1 seed.
Nice.
Given the Patriots lost this week, which is very important because I don't want to face Kansas City in the first round. I have no desire to get the number 2 seed and get rewarded with facing KC. That would be tragic. There's Creed Humphrey going too.
Ooh, just for the remainder of the game. That's if KC makes it. There's still a chance here for Cincinnati to come back in this game and really put the Chiefs behind the 8 ball. Although you probably wouldn't want to face the Bengals in the first round either.
True. Both teams very, very similar. I think the matchup a little bit better with the Bengals card-wise.
Yeah. So in the real NFL, who do you like this week?
I like the Chiefs.
Even with the injury to Mahomes.
Yep.
Yeah, a lot of people are jumping on the Bengals bandwagon because of that. You see that line moved from Chiefs by 1.5 or Chiefs by 1 to Bengals by 1.5.
Yeah, I got the Chiefs plus 2.5 yesterday.
Nice.
Right at the open, I took the Eagles minus 1. It was pretty low at the time. I think it's moved up since. So.
Got it. Yeah, San Francisco is such a good team that you forget how good the Eagles are in defense. That's going to be a new challenge for Mr. Purdy. Ooh, white die 6.
Look at that.
How far can Gore go? I don't think he can go.
I think he can.
I don't think he can go 34, can he?
Yeah. He's down
to the 20, to the 10, to the 5. He's into the end zone. Doubting Thomas, Mr. Crowley was wrong. He can go that far.
Yeah, as long as 50. Yeah.
Wow.
That his team enough to know. Yeah.
So that makes it 26-13, pending the extra point. And I know that Tim's giving a big sigh of relief there. At one point, he was trailing 13-10. Now he scored the next 17 points. Nice return there by Brandon Wilson. He's going to get it close to midfield. It's just what the Cincinnati Bengals need. They try to rally here in the fourth. So what has to happen? You say we're going to take a look at the standings. So do
Yeah,
you have something to share, or do you want me to
I
bring
can
up the
speak
league
back.
manager?
I guess I can speak to it while the game's going on. The bottom two wild cards were 7 and 8 entering
Okay.
this week. So that's the Raiders and the Broncos. The Raiders already lost. They lost to Indy, so they're 7 and 9. Broncos will face the Chargers this week. And as I mentioned before, the Chargers will be hungry for the win. Meanwhile, also at 7 and 8 were the Jaguars, right outside at the first spot, and they beat the Patriots, so they moved 8 and 8, and as
Okay.
of right now, have a spot in the playoffs.
Oh
After
yeah,
that,
I did read that recap with a nice double team at the end, just off the Pats from potentially winning that one.
yep, so you can swap out the Jaguars in, Raiders out as of right now. As the Raiders fall to 7 and 9, and the Jags are now 8 and 8. After that, you have the Dolphins at 6 8 and 1. They just lost to Tennessee, makes them 6 9 and 1. That means whoever wins this game is going to be at 7 and 9, and is going to be either tied for a playoff spot, tiebreakers, or one game out, depending on what the Broncos do.
Interesting. And then let's take a look at their final week opponent. Kansas City has Denver, who you're going to play this week.
Which essentially could be a playoff game. Could be.
Could be, yeah, who winning in. And Cincinnati's got Cleveland, who's also
Fighting.
in the mix. Yeah.
They have the first wild card at 7 7 and 1. I think Cleveland faces Pittsburgh this week. That game is Sunday morning.
And Pittsburgh's always a dangerous team, defending champions, coming off. They're 6 and 9 right now, but if
They're another 6
they
and
win
9.
out,
Yeah, they're another 6 and 9. Have a head-to-head win over the Chiefs.
So that's going to be an interesting sprint to the finish for those wild card teams.
Yes. Bad scramble.
Second and 10 as the Bengals have gotten it into Chiefs territory. Still plenty of time left. Bomb to Jamar Chase. And here comes the pass rush. That's one thing that sets the Chiefs apart. That really wasn't one of their high pass rushers, but where is the Chris Jones? There he is. Chris Jones. I was gonna say Chris Jones is usually a nice matchup against the center or one of the defensive tackles or offensive guards. That one was Jaron Reed, who's only a 3, beating Hakeem Adeniji. 27% chance of a sack, and the random roll was 12.
It's a nice chunky 9-yard loss.
Yeah, big loss too.
Chiefs are good at that. Second in the league at yards per sack. They average 7.9 coming in.
Square out left to T. Higgins, looking for the white die 6. Doesn't get it, but gets 5. It'll bring up 4th and 14, and Ben Neiman. See, there's a 4-4-4 on the primary die here, and he is out for the rest of the game. That's going to force Cincy to punt. So they got the good field position on the return, but couldn't do anything with it. And now looks like they're going to kick it into the end zone, unless the Chiefs decide to return it. Odds are that will fall 3 or more yards. Let's see what happens. Yep, it goes 5. So they'll start at the 20. So to pin him deep there, he would have had to roll 4, 3, or 2. 2 would have been interesting with the fumble. But here we go. 27-13, 2-score lead, 2 tights, 2 wides. The Bengals go 3-3-5, and they need to stop in the worst way to keep their playoff hopes alive. They call correctly on the run, but there's a flag down. That's going to be holding against the Chiefs, and they'll back them up. So first and 20 at the 10.
If you need the ball back, the best way to get it back from the Chiefs is to sack them. The fumble on Mahomes' sack is pretty high.
And they do have some injuries on the offensive line, which could help. The normally very effective Creed Humphrey is out, replaced by a 0-0 Austin Blythe, now Seahawk.
Which means don't go 4-2-5 anymore. That's what that means. I mean, and you could bring a linebacker, but who's he got in the middle is a question. He could have a 7 on him. You could have a 7 on him.
Yep, Larry Ogunjobi.
Instead, Creed is going to be facing the first linebacker, if any come.
The Creed replacement.
Oh, Creed's replacement, thank you. Yes.
Yeah.
The ghost of Creed.
Hey, are you in SSFA or one of the other spring? Are you in Somsva, right?
Somsva.
You're one of the. Okay. So that doesn't draft till next month or a few weeks away. Derek Gore is in there. Maybe looking to run the ball, get him some room.
Those linebackers don't have much.
Screen left to Gore. Gore just got a big gainer for the touchdown. He leaves him alone, uses his coverage guy to double somebody else, and that's going to mean it's guessed wrong. So instead of a incomplete, it's going to be an 11-yard pickup, setting up 3rd and 9. So good anticipation by Tim there to throw it to a target who was not covered and who was guessed wrong on their card if it landed there, and guessed wrong on the quarterback's card if he threw it to the right spot.
And here's an opportunity to come after Mahomes.
So would you show blitz here?
Gore's a 5. So probably keep my percentages up. Don't show it. And Tim is not going to give him the chance. So interesting.
Looking past the Tim Hardman. No flags. So if he would have not brought the linebacker down, that would have been a 9-yard pickup on the Hardman's card. So good anticipation by Jeff that time to fill that zone, not leave it open. Darius Phillips back to return this punt, and he'll just return it for 2 yards. So still a pulse on these Bengals. It's fading.
Score to stop.
Yeah, that's what he needs. So we looked at the AFC, and this is an AFC contest, but real quick in the NFC, I had mentioned earlier, the Packers and Seahawks on top, 1st and 2nd seeds. Then we got some 9-6 teams fighting for the division in the East. 9-6 teams.
The Bucs are crushing the Jets.
Okay, so they'll get the win there. Just to maintain their 1.5 game lead. Here is a Yak reading, so plus 12 on the flat pass to T. Higgins. That gets it out to the 45. But there is a kind of an equally mad dash in the NFC for those last couple wild card spots, right? I mean,
yeah.
Minnesota 8-7, Giants 8-7, Falcons 8-6-1, Cardinals 8-7. So the number 1 wild card, the Rams, even though they lost tonight, they're still in good shape.
Yeah.
But it's going to be an interesting last week of the season. Last couple
I believe
weeks.
The Giants lost, and the Niners lost. If I'm not mistaken, today Niners lost to Texans.
Oh wow. Well, the Niners are they're 8-7. I thought they were less than that. Okay, so that puts a damper on their playoff plans. Mm-hmm. What'd you say? Did Arizona play yet? They're playing.
Arizona
Dallas.
has not played yet.
So that's a big one. Arizona against Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
The Eagles are playing the Commanders. Vikings against the Packers. Some good games this week in the NFC. You complete on 2nd and 13 after the sack by Chris Jones, which was really not a Chris Jones sack. It was a must-run for negative yardage sack. but he'll take the credit. There's a lot of times where you lose a sack because they get reassigned, so he deserves it. Third and 13. Curl to T. Higgins. And KC's D card is standing tall today. Even if you pick up 11 or 12 there, at least makes you think about going for it. But now, 4th and 13, what's the point? You got to punt. And you got maybe 2 possessions left, depending on what the Chiefs do. Maybe 3, but in all likelihood, you're going to get the ball 2 more times, and you need to score 2 touchdowns.
Puts them back a ways, which is nice. Puts them at the 8? Oh, 14.
14? Yeah, that -3 is like confusing because
-3, yeah, -3.
It's really bringing the ball's like kicking back 3 yards instead of rolling forward. Fly to McCole Hardman, looking to put the dagger in, covered by 5, nobody in the zone. Looking for a roll on Mahomes' card or dump off. There's a 9-yard pickup. The dump-offs have been kind to KC in the second half. There was a sack chance on that one. Trey Hendrickson's 11 against Orlando Brown Jr.'s 7. 27% chance of a sack, random 41. Off tackle left to Gore. Picks up 2. Gets the first down. So now maybe he'll look to run a little bit more to burn some more clock off, but it doesn't look like the Bengals are going to get the ball back with more than, say, 5 minutes left if they get a stop here. Quick slant to Travis Kelce. Interception split. Ooh.
You've seen that 3 times now.
Yeah, it's interesting. Jeff's more concerned with plugging the run zones than he is with leaving the linebackers home and doubling with the free safety. I see the free safety moving a little bit, but I haven't seen him doubling a lot. I see him plugging the zone or moving to a flat. Let's see what he does now. 3-3-5 against the 2 tights, 2 wides. Edwards-Helaire has 4 unfatigued carries left. Goes to Kelce. That's a first down. Complete. Wrong, right, or double.
Jeff's a big double teamer. 4th in the league in double team attempts. But next to last in effectiveness.
Well, that means to me a lot of double teaming with the linebackers. Hill on a bomb, incomplete. Covered by 0, nobody was in the zone, so that's an opportunity there missed. Although Jeff's saying, hey, if it was a 7 on my card, I missed an opportunity. That's my opportunity missed. So there we are, 6 minutes to go. Off tackle left to Edwards-Helaire. That's going to take it down to 5:37 or something. 5:24. So picks up 6. Breaks contain. So 3rd and 4 from the 42. You run it and don't pick it up, you're still, in pretty good position.
Punting shape. Yeah, you're good punting shape too.
Like you said, the last thing you want is a sack on a short or long pass where Mahomes coughs it up and gives the Bengals a short field.
Facing that 4-man front, you can have a little less fear.
Curled up Brian Pringle. He's going for it. He's get sacked. He does not cough it up.
No fumble. Jeez.
So he still didn't lose that many yards. So that's not too painful of a sack. And he held on to the ball. 48-yard punt total as it rolls for 6 yards. Tommy Towns with a nice punt. And this is it now. This is really, really must-score territory for the Bengals because 4-down territory, everything you need. You need 2 touchdown drives, and you got 4:30 left. Chris Evans, what is he, a 0.5? Yeah, so dump offs in play. Curl to Higgins, incomplete. I'll tell you that KC short pass card has really done him well today.
Mm-hmm.
Same formation, 3 wide. Boyd, Higgins, and Chase are the receivers. Uzama has a dot, slant to Uzama, and that's going to be a first down, 10 yards on Burrow's card.
Loves those short passes. It's not been working out. Nobody throws more short than Cincy in the entire league. 31% of the time coming in. I bet that number's gone up.
I bet you're right. Curl to Higgins, another short pass. Covered by a 4. Or no, covered by a 5, excuse me. Interception, split on the D card, incomplete. Penalty, offsides against KC. So free play there for the Bengals. So Denver. Who's Denver's coach? Is that
David.
Got it.
David's traveling out of the country this week, so we're not going to play till Sunday night.
That's good in some ways and bad in others. Bomb to Higgins or to Boyd.
There's pick.
And it's going to be picked off.
Nice.
2 guys in the zone. And that's going to wrap it up, I think, for the Chiefs. Maybe a little premature to say that, but the way this thing's gone, I think he's going to
Returns it too.
He's going to be able to wrap it up here. Just run the ball, maybe a little flat passing. Avoid the turnovers and you're home free. Pitch out left to Gore against the full house. That's going to be no gain.
So Gore has min fumbles. Edwards-Helaire does not.
Stays in that full house.
Edwards-Helaire's not atrocious, though. Just a little bit elevated.
Curled to DeMarcus Robinson. Switches it up. Stays away from the full house. Flush. Dump off 5 yards. Setting up 3rd and 5. Since he takes a timeout.
We're going to get the player. There's a 0-0 out there. Marcus Bailey, right outside linebacker. If you want to run it, you might want to run it at him.
But he's in the shotgun, so unless Mahomes has an end run.
He does not.
Yeah. So. Square into McCole Hardman.
Oh.
Interception split. So he will have to punt it.
Couple occasions, not that one, but the short pass would have been in an INT. Thrown flat, saved Mahomes from some picks on those 11 rolls.
Right. Down to the 6. 6, I usually let it bounce. 7, I try to return it.
Yep.
And Jeff returns it. Good decision there. He got 11. Probably would have been about the same spot whether he returned it or not. Maybe not, though. That might be the 5-yard thing. And he was at the 6. So here we go. 27-13, down by 14, 2 timeouts, 3 wide again, slant to Uzoma, incomplete. Flag down, pass interference. So Hope stays alive. Burrow's long pass completions are on 9 and 10. So that could have been plus 28. Bomb to Chase, trying to hit that again. He's got another penalty, but this time it's holding on the Bengals instead of pass interference. So 1st and 20. Bomb to Boyd. He's a 9 or 10 on his card. Instead, he gets a 5 on the D card. 2nd and 20.
Since he's showing no inclination to go flats here, you might want to start using the linebacker.
I'm just gonna say that the looking pass has been open the last 2 plays. So we'll drop a little pin there for Chase or Higgins or Boyd or even Uzama, who's got a dot.
Here we go. This is a nice call because he's an AYAC too.
And
Nothing.
It goes on there.
I
guess wrong card for a yard. Now the Z card, that would have been plus 16, I think, or something like that.
Yeah.
Third and 19. Slide to Uzama. Incomplete. 4th and 19. Turn out the lights. Party's over. They say it all.
There it is.
Ends must end.
Knock that baby down.
When it's me, I want my coach to have my opponent to have as many excuses as possible. So I'm intercepting it, so the stats look like I really got it there.
Yeah, and he returned it.
It's a penalty.
Offside.
Is it? Yes, offsides against KC. So we'll get another bomb chance. Come on, get that look into Chase going again. Let's see if we can get some magic. Goes to Higgins on a curl and incomplete.
14, yeah.
And that actually works out better for KC. Instead of having the ball way back there where they returned it 4 yards, they have it in Bengals territory where they can just take a knee. And Jeff probably will not even use a timeout, knowing Jeff. And let's go down to 1 second left, and we'll get one more snap. Let's see if we can get Tim to come in, say hi. He usually will. Let me share this out real quick. So a convincing win, and the Chiefs stay alive in their hope to grab that last playoff spot, and they'll be happy no matter who they face, whether it's New England or the Chargers. It's looking better for the Chiefs. I'd say that for sure, based on this week's results. Let me send this to Tim. There was a point where it's like, there's no way the Chiefs can make the playoffs, but they just keep crawling back in there. You stab them with your stealing knives, but you just can't kill these beasts. And Tim has been amazing in the playoffs, for all his self-deprecation and not knowing all the rules and still learning. Damn, he's been effective in the playoffs. Yes or no? 3 championships or 4 championships in the last decade or so. Should look at that. Football. League champions. So this has been 3 in a row there, with another one way back in 2013. So 4 championships in the last decade. Let's see if we're going to get Tim to join us. Oh, he's not logged into Slack. Oh, I got to put it over here. And it's not letting me. You know, sometimes you get those when you're in the game. It doesn't type as a spectator. I'm there right now. It's not letting me do anything. Okay, there you go. Thanks, Anthony. Looks like we're gonna get Tim in here. Take a quick look at the box score. I think you may have muted yourself, Anthony, if you're talking, because I can't hear you. Unless hold on, maybe my thing's off.
How about now?
I can hear you now.
Okay.
Hey, welcome in, Big Chief. Tim,
going,
four-time
guys?
champion commissioner. That's got to feel good to get your playoff hopes, which were once on life support. They're back.
They still
they're
are.
back to well, they're back. They're looking much better, I have to say, after the last few weeks and the results this week. We're talking about them a little bit.
I mean, obviously, if you extrapolate ahead and presume I win the finale, maybe the landscape right now suggests I would have I'm guessing,
good shot,
20-something%.
No. I mean, doesn't it look like it's most likely a play-in game between you and the Broncos, given Miami's loss? No.
But there's so many other teams. I'll look at it. I haven't had a chance to put it all together, but I mean, there's enough teams and enough ways that the tiebreaker can shake out. I'll look. Believe me, it gets more complex, and I got to rewire it again tonight after moving down the Dolphins. You say the Dolphins lost?
Dolphins lost. Yeah, Steelers haven't played yet. That's going to be important. But
love you, Tony. But that certainly does help me.
And the Steelers might stick a stick in the spoke there, because they got the head-to-head. Titans lost, right? No, Titans won, but you have the tiebreaker on them.
The biggest key is you've got to have the tiebreaker against your division mates. With you winning the division, the first tiebreaker, every single tiebreaker I face, the first thing it's going to say is, we don't want to talk to you unless you can bypass your division teams. If you want to join the tiebreaker with the Titans, who you beat, and these other teams like the Bengals, who I just beat, or the Ravens I beat, if you want to join those tiebreakers and try to take advantage of that, you've got to get past Denver and the Raiders. So I've got to look at that closely to see how that's going to shake out for sure.
Oh, well,
good game. I mean, what sticks out to me are the 2 zeros in the third and fourth quarter for Cincy, Tim.
Yeah, defensive. I don't know. I certainly have more than my share of dice in this game, and so that helped. And I had a lot of injuries. A lot of injuries that I kind of had to deal with. But I mean, give Jeff credit. His especially defensively, he was all over me. Real good instincts on when I was going to my receivers, and really kind of wasn't till late in the game when I started ignoring a lot. Really, just kind of ignoring my main targets a lot, and really spreading it around more. He was just kind of real keen on double team, and I was becoming scared to throw, and certainly ran more than I planned to, but every game's different.
The double teams in the second half, there was a couple opportunities where he had interception splits and he wasn't double teaming, or he wasn't double teaming the right guys. So that worked out. And then a lot of the injuries that you had came once the game was either tied or you were ahead. So those are always a little bit easier to take. You had the big injury to Darrell Williams right after he gave you a touchdown, which is like, you want to go out like that. You want to go out with the guy having 5 catches for 112 yards and a touch. So that was huge. And But
Yeah.
his replacement, Derek Gore, caught a dump off pass or a yak pass
for like a 34-yard touchdown.
Yeah, you're right.
Or
So
something like that. Yeah.
So if Williams wasn't in there, Gore came in and pretty much was able to do the same thing at that spot on the field. So another, at least you didn't have somebody who was limited in there like Clyde Edwards-Helaire or something like that, or Jerick McKinnon. So
I remember looking at the game clock. There was 14 minutes left in the second quarter, and I looked at the box score, and I think I'd run 6 or 7 times, and Mahomes had 4 passes. And I said to myself, Self, you're not going to go another quarter looking here that Mahomes has had 4. So I dialed it up a little bit more and was a little more aggressive, I guess, at that point.
Yeah, you didn't want to face that heat from the Kansas City press going, why aren't you using your best weapon come Monday morning after the press conference?
Yeah.
So I hopefully Scott doesn't get mad at me for this, but I went ahead and imported the results that have been uploaded to the cloud.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Because he had given me the ability to do that when we were fixing that one problem that a few weeks ago. So now we can kind of look at the standings with a little bit clearer picture. We got the Baltimore win in there. They crushed the Rams.
Oh, did they? Wow.
We got the Patriots loss. Patriots lost to Jacksonville.
Man. I have to look at it, but how close does that come to? I guess if the Browns lose this week, that would clinch the division for Baltimore.
Yeah. Correct, because they were a half game back
Pittsburgh over the weekend.
You're right. Yes, I think did I hear Sunday for that game, Anthony?
Yeah, I think that's right.
10 a.m. Yeah.
Right. So
which of course creates a dilemma for me. What Cleveland is at 7-1. So if we grant Baltimore the division, then if I'm going to get ahead of Cleveland, I would need Cleveland to lose potentially twice. Yeah.
Well, you don't need to worry about getting ahead of
Cleveland. Yeah. I mean,
forget your best case
scenario. I'm trying to find multiple teams I can get ahead of.
No, but you only want to get the last spot. So I would say is that if the teams that are in the first and second wild card, let them keep winning from your perspective. So that means you want to see Cleveland and Jacksonville continue to win, and then teams like Denver and Pittsburgh, and of course you just beat Cincinnati, which isn't showing up here because let me see if I exit and come back in again. I bet you it will.
Yeah, that's typically how it works.
Yeah. So there you go. So now we got the Cincinnati loss in there and the Kansas City win showing up. So you move up to 7-9, you got 7-9. The Raiders lost as well, so they're down to 7-9. So that's one team. Right. I'm not sure how you stack up tiebreaker wise, but ideally for you want Pittsburgh to lose so that they are out of the mix because that head-to-head loss.
And correct me if I'm wrong. Chargers. Who do you play, Anthony? Who do you play this week?
Denver.
That's what I thought. So hypothetically speaking, if you were to beat Denver, then that would be all 3 of us underneath you at 7-9,
along with the Titans.
I'm looking at that over on.
Can you go to league report standings? Dennis?
Huh?
Yeah.
I just want to see the division. I think they'll give you the division standings there. Yeah. Okay.
So if that happens,
so it doesn't show you division, just conference.
Broncos would be a 1-4 division record, so that would really be great for me. The Broncos need this game badly tonight. They really kind of do, because if they fall into a 3-way tie with myself and the Raiders, their division record falls to 1-4, and they're just probably not. They're going to have a hard time overcoming that. I'd have to run the math, which would be real complex, but it's possible. This is a must-win for Denver. Or elimination based on their division record and what I described earlier about it, needing that division to get ahead of tiebreakers with your division mates. So,
yeah, and I'm not sure exactly how it works, but let's just say you did wind up tied with Pittsburgh, but you also were tied with Pittsburgh, Denver, the Raiders, Tennessee. That head-to-head loss to Pittsburgh might not factor in because unless all the teams played each other.
There's so
probably go
many
to conference.
ways. Yeah, there's
you
ways
have a-
it can trip up. Like if it's, say, for
Right.
instance, it's Pittsburgh and another team from Pittsburgh's division. Pittsburgh may have the better tiebreaker with me, but just like I just said with me and the Raiders and the Broncos, unless Pittsburgh can get past its division mates in the tiebreaker to get to me and utilize its head-to-head win against me. So there's so many ways it can kind of shake out now. But again, I got to be honest. That's what I love about this. I'll be up half the night, I'm sure, plugging in numbers and running scenarios and figuring out not just my team, all teams to try, because I haven't seen all the results, but certainly with some of the plurality that you've laid out to me tonight, there's going to be a lot of things changing by the time you guys wake up in the morning. I can't wait to kind of look at it.
Yeah. So I can send you a backup copy of this if you want, or I can just send you the report. But there is
certainly a screenshot to double check when I'm looking at it on my end that I've got all the right ones put in. But yeah, it's gonna be a great division race. Not division, but AFC playoff chase. It's crazy looking at all the teams that are still fighting and still in there. So,
who's Tennessee have next week?
San Fran. No, they just play San Fran. I've got it right here. Tennessee is the Texans. So Tennesse's facing a winless team technically in the final game. So, and they beat the Dolphins. So we could maybe, I don't want to say pencil them in, but the Titans have a good chance of getting to 8-9 based on that.
Right. Yeah. And I'm curious if you're a tiebreaker with the Titans. You beat them.
Wait, real quick before we do
but
with the Titans, I got them head to head because I beat them.
Right.
But I was also just thinking that, like, if the Jaguars were to lose in the finale to the Colts and the Titans win again against the Texans, Jags and Titans would be tied at 8-9, and they split. So it looks to me like it would become a complicated tiebreak that either, because I'm looking and it looks like it would go to the fourth tiebreaker if they're both 8-9. So I guess what I'm saying is it's certainly possible that you could have multiple teams in the AFC North that are tied for a wild card spot, or the South or the West. And when you have that in all three divisions, all of those teams could possibly have tiebreakers they can win. They just can't utilize them if they can't beat their division mates. And I think I'm the poster child for that because I have an 8-4 conference record if I finish.
Yes. Well, that's your ace in the hole, isn't it?
Huh?
That's your ace in the hole. I mean, you got to win. But
yeah, I got to win.
In the hole, that conference record is likely to, and you've said this now for a month and a half, that conference record of yours is likely to be I shouldn't say likely, but has a good chance of being what will get you through.
Yeah, it can, certainly. I've got some tiebreakers that work in my favor, but some of them have dropped off. Like the Baltimore tiebreaker. If they win the division, that's not going to help me any. Buffalo lost too many games. I'm not going to get any benefit from that tiebreaker. Cleveland beat them, but they have a half game. Not going to get anything from that tiebreaker. So, it could be overstated. It's just going to be fascinating. So in some ways you can wipe some of those out. So, we'll see. Yeah. It's just going to be really interesting. I can't wait to see how much I can dig in and find out before.
Well, good deal. I'm going to send you guys a zip file with the post files for the week in it. So you can just stick this, unzip it, put the results in your received directory, and import them using league import postgame file.
Okay.
And it'll bring all those in, so you'll be able to see the same thing that I'm seeing. And I'll tell Scott that he just needs to. You can sort by whether they've been imported or not, but you can also sort by the game week, so he'll be able to pull all the files in from this week with no trouble.
Sure. Well, I'll just tell you, just as a sidebar, true story. I don't know if it was yesterday or day before. I mean, literally within the last 48 hours, I found myself thinking, you know what? It's been a long time since we've had a Dennis Crowley broadcast out here. It'd be nice to see Dennis out there, and here you are. So you
coincidental. Caught me on a good night where I'm recovering from COVID still, so I'm isolated.
I'm sorry to hear that, man.
Usually this is like family time, doing stuff with the kids, so I've got to I got to stay away from them.
I know you're a busy man.
I'm testing almost negative. You know what I mean? Like there's a little faint line. So I just stay over here in the computer room and keep everybody else safe.
All right. Yeah, we'll get it. Stay healthy, buddy. Stay healthy.
All right, man. So
Thanks for
I'll go ahead and shut it down.
Guys.
Yeah. Congratulations on the win. A very impressive win. You're able to put up over 400 yards of offense and hold your opponent to under 250, I think. So nice job on both sides of the ball.
For this season, that's pretty good for me, for sure. I'll take it.
Yeah. Anthony told me if he gets the number 2 seed, he's trying to get the number 1 seed, but if he gets the number 2 seed, the last thing he wants is to face those Chiefs as the number 7 seed. So
all I want to say, I don't care. At this point, I don't care who it is.
All I'm going to do is sit back in the 3-3-5 against me. It's not a good scenario. But hey.
Yeah, I know that you're going to put me to some of the same choices I faced tonight. And I know that, the variables will be different. So whatever it is, I'll be ready for it, I guess. I'll have to be.
Good deal. All right, guys. Take care.
Yeah, take care, guys.
Thanks, guys.
All right, take care.
Congrats, Tim.